I can say that the entire world has been shocked by the atrocities of ISIS.
How these different organizations are spelled and explain them each, because there are three major intelligence gathering organizations in Israel. You start with the Mossad. What is it?
Mossad means institute, by the way, and this is an institute for intelligence and special operations. So the Mossad is the foreign espionage arm. Compare it to the CIA.
All right, go down here to the...
Next one is Aman, right? Military intelligence. It's a Hebrew acronym, so it is the intelligence arm of the armed forces. As Yossi was saying, it in fact is the largest and most important. And then it says Shin Bet. Two Hebrew letters, initials for security services. That's the domestic agency, the equivalent of the FBI.
Which one of the three is the most important?
It would be Aman, the military intelligence. Nothing is more important than you're watching your Arab neighbors for actual movements of troops, how many tanks they have, where are the aircraft. All these other missions that we described are fascinating. And even getting, thousands of Jews into the country is vital. But war, having a sign that war is coming, that's the key, and that's Aman's job.
Which is the second most important?
The Mossad. The problem with Aman, with the military intelligence, is that it lives in the shadow of the flamboyant Mossad. It can be compared to the same problem which is facing United States National Security Agency, NSA. It is the largest, the most important agency in the intelligence community. Yet, the most famous one, which gets media attention, is the CIA. The same is in Israel. The Mossad has become sort of epitomizing the Israeli intelligence. But the most important agency is military intelligence. Mossad comes second, and then you have Shin Bet, the Israeli equivalent to the FBI, in charge of fighting terrorism, counter-terrorism, subversion, trying to foil plots against the state of Israel, political plots and others.
You tell the story about how you tried to find out what they call the Mossad when they deal with publicly?
I thought it was a reasonable question, but the trouble is you can't pick up the phone book. There's no Langley in Israel that you can look up, CIA, or in our case, the Mossad. We thought we should ask, what shall we call it in English? You can translate the Hebrew words. As I said, Mossad is institute. But when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the British intelligence, what do they call themselves? It took a while. It was a matter of asking the Prime Minister's spokesman. The best you could do, because officially the Mossad is under the Prime Minister's office. And I think he sort of wondered why you want to know and all that, so we explained. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. I mean, if it were to have initials, it would be ISIS.
Wake up. The US has been sharing unfiltered intelligence with Israel, including the private data of American citizens. According to a confidential document that was part of whistleblower Edward Snowden's leaks, it shows that Washington set no limits as to how its ally could use the information. RT's Paula Slier joins me live from Tel Aviv. Paula, tell us more about what's in this leak.
Well, what we're talking about here is a top secret 5-page memorandum of understanding that lays out all the details of intelligence sharing between the NSA and its Israeli counterpart. What it does reveal is that the NSA routinely shared raw intelligence with Israel without first sifting this information to remove information that was inside relating to American citizens. It states that Israel is allowed to receive raw intelligence signal. It includes unevaluated and unminimized transcripts, gist, faxes, telex, voice and digital network intelligence, metadata and content. And that is a quote. At the same time, the agreement places no legally binding limits on the use of the data by the Israelis. So while the memorandum does say that the material has to be handled in accordance with US law, and at the same time the Israelis have agreed not to deliberately target Americans who identify identified in the data, there is no kind of legal obligation to back up these claims. In this respect, what it reads is that the agreement is not intended to create any legally enforceable rights. It is not an international agreement, and it is not legally binding. It also says that the Israelis were required to destroy upon recognition any communication that is either to or from an official in the US government. This includes the White House, cabinet departments, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, amongst others.
Paula, has there been any reaction from the NSA over these revelations?
Well, the NSA so far has declined to answer specific questions about this agreement. An NSA spokesperson has said that the agency insists that the shared intelligence complies with all laws governing privacy. There was a statement that they did release, and in that statement they said, and again I'm quoting, "We are not going to comment on any specific information sharing arrangements or the authority under which any such information is collected. The fact that intelligence services work together under specific and regulated conditions mutually strengthens the security of both nations." So that has been their formal response.
But the NSA scandal, it just seems to run and run, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I mean, we're looking at a scandal that has at its heart Edward Snowden, this 30-year-old former National Security Agency contractor who made public documents that show that the NSA and its international partners conducted mass surveillance of foreign nationals and US citizens. Certainly, these documents continue to be an embarrassment both to the NSA and the American government.
Paula, thanks very much indeed for that.